Hey guys, Bob here, Raw Strength and Muscle, and I have been drinking a lot of raw eggs lately again, okay? Why have I been drinking a lot of raw eggs lately? First of all, I love to wake up in the morning and drink my breakfast because number one, I'm starving, okay? I need to have something in my stomach. I don't want to eat because I just don't feel like it. I want to have food in my stomach, but I don't want to actually eat it. Certainly don't want to cook it, okay? I'm heading off to the gym, so I want something that's easily digestible. I'm heading off to the gym, so I don't want to start cooking and cleaning and getting distracted. And God forbid somebody in the house wakes me up and really derails me. I want to wake up, boom, single-mindedly brush my teeth, throw in my contacts, drink my breakfast, and head off to the gym and get my workout in. Most important thing I do all day, okay? So since I'm back on keto, my breakfast is 6 raw eggs, 6 fluid ounces of half and half, throw in some cinnamon. Maybe it helps with insulin sensitivity. I like the way cinnamon tastes, okay? And it doesn't do anything bad for you. So, hey, that's my breakfast. Geronda style, I just throw in some cinnamon for flavor, okay? Excellent breakfast. People talk about, well, you need to have greens and vitamins come from fruits and vegetables. Micronutrients come from red meat and egg yolks, okay? So having 6 egg yolks, or 6 whole eggs, but 6 egg yolks in the morning, boom, I get my fat, I get my protein, carbs are way low, liquid, easily digestible, getting my micronutrients, everything. First thing in the morning. Since my body's fat adapted, I absorb all of that fat and it goes right into energy and I burn it up in the gym, come back and have my first meal, okay? My first meal is usually going to be 4 eggs, a cup of egg whites, scrambled, okay, and I have my AM vitamins with that, like my vitamin C, my zinc, etc., okay? The problem is, lately, I've had a lot of stuff going on in my family, people I needed to take care of, take to the doctor, take to, different appointments and stuff. My girlfriend's had similar situation where I had to help her family out, taking people to the doctor, taking people to the hospital, sometimes all kinds of crazy stuff. So my 9 o'clock meal, a lot of times I don't have time to eat it, okay? So I don't have time to cook, to clean up afterwards, to eat. So my choices are either A, miss a meal, okay, miss my vitamins, or take my vitamins but don't digest them properly because I didn't have any food or any fat to digest them with, okay, or have like a candy bar and a fucking, hoo-hoo for fucking breakfast, okay, and call it a cheat day or if it fits your macros. None of that is acceptable. So what I've been doing lately is if I cannot get the meal in, I'll just throw 4 eggs and a cup of egg whites in a shaker cup and drink it down, okay? Breakfast is served, okay? Within a minute, I've cooked, eaten, and cleaned up, okay? So I've gotten a lot of really positive comments like, yeah, great, no excuses. Exactly. I got my meal in, I got my vitamins in, I didn't miss shit, and I still take care of people I said I was going to take care of, okay? Still got things done on time. So thank you for the positive comments about the no excuses. I like that. I appreciate that. That's exactly what it's about. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the questions. A question I did not get yet this time is about salmonella. I used to get them years ago, okay, when I first started drinking raw eggs. And now that I'm back on keto, for some reason I didn't get them. But I'm going to address the salmonella question because it's out there, I'm sure, okay? People just haven't asked it yet. You could get salmonella from drinking raw eggs, okay? But let me just go ahead and just throw a whole bunch of stuff out there, okay? First of all, people can get salmonella from raw eggs or undercooked eggs, okay? Now, everybody's like, if you drink a raw egg, you're going to burn in hell, but nobody talks about the other things. So first of all, an undercooked egg is like a sunny side up egg is basically raw, okay? The top is not cooked through. The yolk is absolutely not cooked through. An over easy egg is not cooked all the way through. Okay, so unless you're eating scrambled eggs or more, or hard-boiled eggs, you are eating an undercooked egg, and it's just as bad as having a raw egg. Okay, number one. Number two, different types of salad dressing, different types of sauces have raw eggs in them. No, I mean, if you look at a menu, they'll say like this and this and this has raw eggs. Be careful. It's not our fault if you get sick, but nobody ever discusses that. Okay, nobody ever talks about that. But like I said, it's true. As a matter of fact, cookie dough, there's a special cookie dough made recently where it doesn't have raw eggs in it, but raw cookie dough, okay, has raw eggs in it. So you could get salmonella by having raw cookie dough. So you get some soccer mom with her 3 little kids and they're sitting down watching a chick flick and everybody's eating raw cookie dough. How come nobody says, that's child abuse, you're going to give your kids salmonella because they're eating raw eggs? But if I drink raw eggs, they're like, you son of a bitch. Like I said, I haven't gotten any negative comments about salmonella, but that is the truth. Okay, it's not just raw eggs. There are a lot of things that people just don't even think about or don't even care about or don't even mention. But when a guy's jacked and he's drinking raw eggs, then people go ahead and they're like, oh my God, this is terrible, this is heresy. Like I said, thank you guys for not giving me these negative, stupid comments, okay? But let's continue talking about salmonella anyway. If you get salmonella, it is extremely unlikely. If you have like free range, happy chickens, healthy chickens, organic chickens, it's extraordinarily unlikely you're gonna get salmonella. I admit I'm not balling to the point that I'm having everything top shelf organic, so I'm not always having, organic eggs, and it is still extremely unlikely you're going to get salmonella, okay? Now, if you do get salmonella, it's usually from the shells, so be careful that you do not have any cracked eggs. When I go and I buy little cases of like 18 eggs, I look at every single one for a tiny little crack. When I actually put them into the cup to drink, I look at every single one I put in there to make sure it hasn't cracked since I brought it home, okay? So if you have if your egg is not cracked, it's even more or less likely that you're going to get salmonella, okay? Same thing goes for when you're opening it. Don't crack it on the lid or on the rim of the glass you're going to drink it out of. Once again, it's infinitesimal, but there's an infinitesimal chance that you're going to get it on the rim and then you're going to put your mouth on the rim and you're going to get the salmonella that way. Now, let's talk about if you do have salmonella. What's the happen? Unless you have some kind of a medical condition, worst case scenario, all that's going to happen is you are just going to produce slightly loose feces with a slightly greenish tint, okay? So I've had people who are like very overweight, okay, high blood pressure, not because they've got high blood pressure, but because they're so overweight, degenerative bone problems, not because they have degenerative bone disease, but because they weigh so much, they're grinding on their vertebrae, grinding on their joints and their hips and their knees and their ankles because they weigh so much. They got diabetes, not because they have diabetes, but they are diabetic because their pancreas cannot produce enough insulin to keep up with the mass of fat that they have. And they are telling me that I'm going to die because I drink fucking raw eggs and I'm fucking jacked and ripped, okay? You've got guys, I've had guys stand in front of me with a beer in one hand, a cigarette in the other, like the 10th case of beer they're drinking that day, the 10th fucking pack of cigarettes they're smoking that day, telling me that I'm gonna die of salmonella poisoning. Well, when they are fucking vomiting blood because they have liver cirrhosis, when they're having somebody shove a fucking vacuum cleaner down their throat into their lungs to suck out the liquid that is drowning them and killing them from the inside out because they've been smoking all their lives, well, guess what? They're going to wish their biggest fucking problem is that they produce slightly loose, slightly greenish feces, okay? Hands down, they're going to wish that was their biggest fucking problem, okay? If that's the most sick I get in my life, I really think that I won at life, okay? As a matter of fact, I used to say years ago that I've been drinking raw eggs for years and never got salmonella. Now, I probably think that I may have at some point in my life, maybe several times gotten salmonella, but didn't notice it because, hey, I just have a little gurgle in my stomach and a day or two later, I feel fine. You don't even notice. It's like when you sneeze twice in one day, then the next day you feel fine, okay? So like I said, extremely unlikely you're going to get salmonella, extremely unlikely you're going to notice it, okay, or have any serious problems. Now, this doesn't mean I'm saying drink raw eggs. If you drink raw eggs and your dick falls off or something, don't fucking blame me, okay? Be a man, it's your own decision. But the point is, just research some of this stuff, the likelihood, the effects, okay? Exactly what happens when you have salmonella, okay? And like I said, make your own decision. That's my decision, okay? Another thing that I've gotten questions about now, however, is that people say when you cook an egg, it's like 90% of the protein gets absorbed into your body. When you don't cook an egg, 50%. I've heard this for years before. The bottom line is you got a lot of guys who are fucking jacked who drink a lot of raw eggs, okay? And then you got a lot of fucking guys who say this and don't drink raw eggs who aren't fucking jacked. Now, I'm not saying that they are jacked because they're drinking raw eggs and there's some kind of a magical raw egg fucking component to their diet. But what I am saying is, they're certainly not suffering. They're not starving because they're fucking drinking raw eggs and they're not getting any of the protein out of it, okay? My best quote ever for raw eggs is, I was looking this up, all over through the internet. I ended up at one point in a forum and people were discussing it. And one guy's like, he used to drink a lot of raw eggs, okay? And then a couple years ago, he started cooking raw eggs, okay? And he says he didn't notice any difference. It's not like he got twice the benefit because he's getting twice the protein. He drank them, got jacked, okay? He cooked them, stayed jacked. So there's no like difference between cooking raw eggs and, eating them. Now, maybe there is, like, if you look at it like a fucking, specific, very precise measurement machine that scans down and, UFOs fucking sends you insider information and you look at it exactly through like a microscopic scan thing. Maybe there is like a little blip, like boop, yeah, you get a little bit more protein in, but it obviously doesn't make a difference because, like I said, some of the best physiques in the world rely on fucking lots of raw eggs, okay? Another thing with me is, like I said, when I wake up in the morning, I need to get in my protein and my fat and my micronutrients I need just in general, okay? That's why I drink my raw eggs, okay? If I were to get up in the morning and spend a half an hour cooking and cleaning and eating raw cooked eggs, I just would increase the likelihood at some point that I would either miss my meal or miss my workout or whatever, okay? Consistency is the most important thing. So I rely upon my raw eggs to get the meals in. If there was a point in my life when I was drinking 2 or 3 shakes a day, 6 raw eggs apiece, where am I going to get the time at like, oh, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I need to fucking go ahead and get my raw eggs and get my cooked eggs together and start cooking and stuff like that. How am I going to be able to do that? I mean, you're just setting yourself up for a situation where something's not going to go right. Whereas if I just drink my eggs and it's fast and it's easy, it increases the likelihood I'm going to actually stick to my diet. Okay. So that's basically what I'm talking about. I mean, let's look at it like this. Maybe it's true that you don't absorb as much protein when you eat the eggs raw as when you eat them cooked. But I mean, how many people say like, oh yes, well, if you skip breakfast and intermittent fast, you're going to raise your growth hormone. How many people look like they're shooting fucking 3 vials of growth hormone a day because they skip breakfast? I used to be skinny fat, but then I skipped breakfast for a fucking couple weeks and suddenly I'm fucking jacked. Shit don't happen, okay? Like, it literally doesn't happen like that. The bottom line is maybe your growth hormone goes up a tiny little bit, okay, if you skip breakfast, but it's not enough to notice. Maybe you don't get as much protein when you drink your eggs raw as when you cook them, but it's not enough to notice, okay? So like I said, that's all I'm saying. It's like, I appreciate the questions. Nobody's been like negative or aggressive, so I'm not talking shit about these people. I'm just giving you a straight up answer. Like, yes, I've heard the same thing that you've heard, and I noticed in myself and in other people, Vince Gironda, pioneer of keto type, high protein, low carb dieting for like all of the fucking bodybuilders in the 70s, the very first Mr. Olympia was one of his guys, lots of fucking guys that he used to train. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he got Arnold Schwarzenegger in shape. He had all these guys drinking fucking raw eggs. And I'm not thinking that any of them were scrawny because they weren't digesting their protein properly. Okay. And now let's go ahead and look at the last thing. Is that, people think like, when you go ahead and you drink your eggs, when you drink your eggs raw or when you drink just liquid egg whites. This was another one of my videos, I think, recently where I was like, I didn't have a lot of time. So I just drank 2 cups of egg whites, okay? I was supposed to have 50 grams of protein from chicken breast, didn't have time to cook before to prepare my meal, didn't have time to cook at the meal, had no opportunity to get a chicken breast, so I just drank 2 cups of egg whites, okay? There is no problem with just drinking pure egg whites. The only thing is you're not going to have the micronutrients because that's in the yolk, and you're not going to have the calories because that's in the yolk, because you're not going to have the fat, which is in the yolk. So if you're just looking at getting like 50 grams of pure protein, drink 2 cups of liquid egg whites and you're done. Boom. Okay. As a matter of fact, they have these like pint containers of egg whites in the supermarket. If you're on the road somewhere and you're like screwed, you're like driving, like I drove from, North Florida down to Miami several times recently. It's like, if I'm on the road, I just need to find a supermarket, pull in there, grab a pint of egg whites, drink it down, boom. A couple bucks, a couple minutes, and I've got my, food done, drunk already in my stomach, okay? As opposed to somebody else who's going to have an issue, like, where do I get exactly 50 grams of clean protein from, and where am I going to get a chicken breast from, and just go in there, and then next thing you know, they're having a Big Mac because, hey, fuck it, it's better than nothing, which is true, but why do something that's better than nothing when you can get the exact same thing? 50 grams of almost pure protein. Just grab a pint of fucking egg whites, okay? Any supermarket in the world, in America, has it. But anyway, like I said, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. I appreciate you guys commenting on these videos. I love answering these comments. I got so many comments about these couple of videos that I literally put them into one big video, okay, instead of answering them specifically. So, like I said, thank you to everybody who asked, who commented about this. Make sure, if you haven't yet, that you subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell icon so you see my other food or meal videos coming when they come out. And aside from that, thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.